you're fine. I think early on a lot of people are going to decide to take the challenge because, hey, they're going to shuffle down at the end of the turn, why not go all in? Well, let me explain to you why maybe you wouldn't want to go all in. Firstly, minimum 7 is a lot of cards. Even if you control nothing on your board, your opponent is going to begin with 6 cards in hand and then draw for turn. That's Magic the Gathering numbers. We can't deal with that. All it's going to take is some number of play starters, some number of extenders, and some number of defensive cards designed to make their plays work to shut you out of the game completely. Because of this, it feels like it makes sense to go all in. Put your opponent on gotta have it in a 14 or 15 card hand. The problem there is that they're going to have it. As Omni-Negates like Borreload, Savage Dragon, and Baron have been surgically removed from Yu-Gi-Oh!, there are less answers to cards that equalize board states, and if your opponent knows they're going second, the only scenario in which they're going to be boarding into this card, they probably got, like, evenly matched, or, like, Tactics, or, like, Regeki. Additionally, and we talked about this a little bit in the previous video, there are going to be a lot of scenarios where you go all in and still can't trigger this end phase shuffle down. That's because a significant amount of the cards your opponent draws are going to be immediately activatable. This first effect doesn't say you can only activate multi-charming monsters, it says you can activate one additional multi-charming monster. You're still free to fire Ash, or Imperm, or that new trap that's a sort of Ash and sort of Imperm, all over the turn! Hell, you can fire a second Booer Ross! There's no once per turn on this thing! The end result is that your setup turn is going to stumble. You will put up a less impressive board and fewer cards on it, as your opponent expects individual cards in their hand, both to avoid this end phase trigger and to prevent you from mounting an offense. In short, I think there are a lot of arguments on both sides about Perulia's playability. There are metagames, like the one we're living in now, that are unfriendly enough to the card that it's not necessarily super strong, and the best case scenario for the jellyfish is that it occupies 3 spaces in the sideboard and never takes over the game. I think such arguments absolutely dissolve in the face of this card. Given the realities of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck design, it's hard for me to imagine a metagame, or even a mechanism to play around this effect. It does seem game-winningly powerful, and even if it takes over the game and goes all the way off, the downside is really a cold comfort to an opponent who is about to lose. But, and this is where the video is going to get a little contentious, that might be known for a long time that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a going first problem. Winning the die roll is so important that many players feel that they're shut out of the game as soon as they hit those snake eyes. Not the deck, the pips on a couple of dies. This is one of the most powerful mechanisms yet at giving the going second player tools to still be in a game where one player is functionally unimpeded. And thankfully, unlike Maxi, there's a significant amount of awful, feels bad situations that it absolutely still does a good. Yeah. A lot of the frustration of this card is going to be alleviated as players find ways to adapt. Theoretically, invent boards that can play through this card in ways that you just couldn't versus Maxi, because, I mean, what the hell are you going to do? Not play the game? As much as I made fun of this guy on Twitter, I think it will lead to the rise of main deckable cards, or at least side deckable going first cards, that do not trigger this effect, and do constitute a threat, even in a world where you're forced to functionally just pass. Think Fenrir and the like. And finally, maybe it'll actually get them to ban Maxi. This card can't exist at the same time as the insect. Come on! That's it. See ya.
And undodgeable unless you're in the Matrix. Firearms
going on?
Whether it be Springtrap choosing to not listen to you, or getting a late Zor Spawn Ultimate Custom Night, or some other instance of bad luck, a lot of the time a player's luck with the game's RNG can make the game significantly more challenging or even impossible. Alright, let's just see how long we survive this.
What the hell?
Curious on this one.
Internet. Dueling Nexus. Why are your servers so terrible?
Oh my. Always come back. I don't know about that one, dude. which gave me the idea to see if it's possible to beat these max modes given the worst possible luck. In this video, we'll be modding these FNAF games.
Oh.
Will go wrong. Now, this video is part 2 and the final part of the Worst Luck series. In the first part of this video, we went over the max modes for FNAF 1, FNAF 2, and FNAF 3. If you haven't yet watched that video, I highly recommend you do after this one if you're interested in how those games played out with the worst possible luck. I also want to give a huge thank you to Braden for creating these mods for both this video and part 1. Then link Braden's game jolt page in the description. Now, back in part 1, in order to determine if a max mode was possible or not with the worst possible luck, we ranked it on a scale. If the game could be beat with possible luck and without any cheese strats, it was given a green possible. If the game was possible but required to be completed, it was given a yellow possible. We tried everything we cheese or not, and the max mode was just straight up impossible. We gave it a, well, impossible rating. In the first part, we determined that FNAF 1's 420 was possible with cheese, FNAF 2's 1020 was possible without cheese, and FNAF 3's Aggressive Nightmare was completely impossible. But at the end of that video, I issued a challenge to my community to see if you guys could beat FNAF 1 without any cheese, and FNAF 3 was possible at all, and I'm happy to say that both of these games have seen developments with the worst luck challenges. First, clearly prove that FNAF 1's 420 is completely possible without any cheese strategies. By just checking the lights 3 times before going into the cameras on later hours, and doing some pretty intense green running, FNAF 1's 420 can be beat without any cheese. It was also proven that our only possible max mode so far, FNAF 3's Aggressive Nightmare, is theoretically possible with cheese. By using the FGP strategy, Felixander30 found that I was actually way off in Freddy spawn, and crafted a theoretical route involving Phantom Freddy desyncs that could make Aggressive Nightmare possible. Then, Nico Frost, the same person who created the -7 strategy in FNAF 2, proved that it is in fact possible with a tool-assisted run, by using a macro that always guarantees every flip is frame perfect. Assuming you were to hit every single frame perfect flip, FNAF 3 Aggressive Nightmare has now gone from impossible to possible with cheese. So, we can safely say that given a perfect player, every max mode up to this point is completely possible with luck. Now, let's see if that continues with our next set of games that will be going through in this video, starting with FNAF 4. Now, before we get into FNAF 4, how we're modifying the games in order to achieve the worst possible luck. Only able to alter the code such that the luck that we deal with here is still theoretically possible in the vanilla game. For example, let's take Molten Freddy here. On Saturday, Molten Freddy moves on 2-second intervals and has a 1 in 3 chance to do so. His movement chance, his 1 in 3 will become a 100% chance, and he'll succeed every movement, and it's theoretically possible for him to hit as many 1 in 3 chances in a row as he wanted. However, we couldn't change his movement interval from 2 seconds to every second, because no amount of bad luck in the base game would ever allow for Molten Freddy's interval to change. Now, FNAF 4 is a bit special when compared to the rest of the FNAF game. It has 3 separate max modes, those being 420 mode, Night 8, then Night 7 with the blind mode and all nightmare challenges, and what most people consider to be the true hardest challenge of FNAF 4, Night 7 with the blind mode, Mad Freddy, and Insta Foxy challenges. Because all 3 of these max modes have different gameplay, we'll be covering all of them with the worst possible luck. So let's go over the changes that we made to FNAF 4's code, starting off with Bonnie and Chica. On every night except 2020 mode, Bonnie and Chica will now have an 18 in 20 chance to move, making them as aggressive as possible and preventing any prediction strategies for movement that is similar to 20 AI. They will also always take the fastest possible route to the bedroom. Foxy receives possibly the strongest buff from having the worst possible luck, which, if you've been following this channel for a bit, I have some history with. Foxy will now always move and given every chance he has on every AI level above 0. Typically, once Foxy enters a hall corner, he'll have a percent chance to move to the opposing hall corner on his next movement opportunity, and a 10% chance to charge your door in the hall. You will now always choose to rush your door no matter what. If Foxy happens to get in the closet, which, let's be real here, this will happen pretty fast, he'll normally choose a random value from 3 to 7 as his starting progress. So for us, he's always starting with 7 progress. Nightmare has also received a few changes. He'll always charge the door, meaning you'll have as little time to react to him as possible whenever he's dashing between hallways. Nightmare will also always succeed on his fake laughs, and he can only do real laugh on 10-second intervals. When he does real laugh, he'll always go to the closet. I'll talk more about these when we actually get to dealing with Nightmare because it gets a bit complicated. Now, out of the 3 max modes that we have for FNAF 4, we have to complete 420 mode in order to unlock the challenges for the other 2 max modes. So, we'll start with Worst Luck 420. As our first max mode for this video, FNAF 4's 420 mode would give us a general idea of what this challenge was going to be like. And I'm actually pleased to say, it was really easy. Now, I actually ended up doing 420 last out of all of the max modes due to some technical issues we had with the mods. But once I realized the cycle of the night, it really wasn't hard whatsoever. Now, in normal 420 runs, there's a strategy that you can use known as the Braden strat. Basically, due to the way that FNAF 4's map is set up, and the fact that there aren't any AI caps in FNAF 4, we can accurately predict where Bonnie and Chica are always going to be using a stopwatch. There's a lot more that goes into it, but all you really have to know is that Bonnie and Chica will never leave the door from 0 seconds to 5 seconds on the timer, meaning we can go up to the door, buffer a flashlight input, and always flash Bonnie and Chica away risk-free. Between these flashes, we can deal with Freddy, keeping everyone at bay with relative ease. However, there is one animatronic that prevents this strategy from being 100% consistent, and if any of you have seen my FNAF lock video, I think you know who I'm talking about. In order for this strategy to work, Foxy must not ever get in the closet. If he does, we won't be able to check Bonnie and Chica on their proper intervals. Unfortunately for us, Worst Luck Foxy is absolutely insane. If you need a quick refresher on how Foxy's entry mechanics work, once he's moved into a hall, he'll wait for you to move to the opposite door of the hall that he's currently located in. Once you move, he'll get in your closet. So, because this is Worst Luck Foxy, he's just gonna straight up charge the same hall 3 times in a row, which makes it so that we can't use the Brayden strat the whole night. However, we can at least use Brayden's strategy to get about 45 seconds of free progress before Foxy gets in. The reason that this works is because of how Bonnie and Chica's room jump scares work. On 420 mode, once Bonnie and Chica have been waiting for a cumulative 12 seconds, they'll jump scare you the next time you turn to the bed. The key word here is turning to the bed. In my winning run, Foxy chose to rush Chica's hall. So I flashed Chica on the first 0 to 5 second interval, then got rid of the Freddles, then went back to the right door to flash Chica again for the second 0 to 5 second interval. Then I got rid of the Freddles one more time. Now, on this next turn, we know that Bonnie will have reached his cumulative room kill timer, since we haven't flashed his hallway at all. So, once we flash Chica this time, don't turn to the bed. Instead, go straight to Bonnie's door. The Mad Freddy challenge isn't on here, so you have a good bit of time with Nightmare Freddy on the bed. It gives us a free 45 second start, so he gets into the closet. Now, once Foxy's here, we'll have to actually start playing the game. Remember that Foxy's starting progress in the closet is random, ranging anywhere from 3 to 7. So, with our worst luck, he's always going to start with 7 progress. So, the moment he gets in, take care of Freddy in the bed, then go up to the closet and close it for exactly 7 seconds. You want to make Foxy a priority here as he's already really aggressive with how much progression he starts with. As a general rule for Foxy, closing the closet doors for exactly 7 seconds will give you enough time to deal with everyone else before returning to the closet. Now we're just going to go into the normal gameplay loop of FNAF 4, which surprisingly is actually pretty lenient. I had played Blind Mode Mad Freddy instead of Foxy before 420 mode, so I was actually used to a way more aggressive Freddy than the one in the 420 mode. And once I realized you only had to check Freddy once per cycle, I knew this night was going to go down no problem. Oh, I lived that? Oh, this is free, okay. Alright, cool. Easy. It's also worth noting that the timer strats from the Brayden method still apply here. If you're at a door from 0 to 5, there's a good chance that Bonnie and Chica won't be there, and if you're at a door from 5 to 10, there's a good chance they will be. There's one thing that I should mention about FNAF 4 in general that is super important for this challenge. Throughout the challenge, 3 is sort of a magic number with these games, and it's the most important in this game here. If you've ever played FNAF 4 casually, then you would know the typical way of getting rid of Bonnie and Chica when they're at the doors is to wait for Then wait until you hear their footsteps actually leaving the door so you know it's safe to open it and flash the hallway. Well, with this strategy, you actually only have to listen for the first breathing part. If Bonnie and Chica are at a door and you close it, they'll wait until the next 3-second interval to kick the door. So, as long as the door is fully closed and you're absolutely sure you heard breathing, it's safe to open the door immediately as the next 3-second interval passes. Chica leave is
Nice.
super important for us. If we spend less time at the doors dealing with them, we'll have way more time with Freddy and Boxy. If you want to be super careful, and if you aren't sure if you heard breathing or not, you can force Bonnie and Chica to the door by quickly closing it and then reopening it, then waiting till the next 3-second interval till they're gone. As long as you follow the loop and keep up with the 3-second intervals, the first 4 hours of 420 mode should be pretty easy, all things considered. Now we have to deal with Nightmare. If you don't know how
Yep,
Nightmare
it's
works,
voiceless.
overview. He'll move from hallway to hallway with the sound cue. Once he stops moving, you'll have to run to that hallway and close the door on him to repeat the cycle. However, Nightmare isn't that simple. Whenever he laughs, there's a chance that he teleports to the bed or the closet, in which case you'll need to find him and flash the bed, or close the closet doors. The problem with this is that a laugh is not always real, and sometimes Nightmare can laugh but just stay in the hallways, leaving you to run around the room like an idiot and die. But if we look a little deeper into how Nightmare's laugh system actually works, it's pretty easy to differentiate between a real and fake laugh. Let's talk about real laughs first. Nightmare's laugh is determined by 2 separate timers, one for the bed and one for the closet. Every second, the game will randomly choose to add one to the bed timer or the closet timer. Once one of these timers hits 20, Nightmare has a 50% chance to laugh and teleport to that respective location. Fake laughs are a lot less complicated. He just has a 1/2 chance to do a fake laugh every 10 seconds. So if you've been paying attention, it's pretty easy to see if a laugh is fake or not. If a laugh happens on any interval that isn't 10 seconds, then it is guaranteed to be real. So how does this translate into worse luck Nightmare? Well, Nightmare is always going to do a fake laugh on every single 10-second interval. But he'll only do real laughs on those same 10-second intervals, making it impossible to tell using a stopwatch whether or not the laugh was real or fake. He'll also always teleport to the closet instead of the bed when he laughs. When Nightmare teleports to the bed, his which would allow us to desync his laughs and always tell if a laugh is real or not. So we really have no idea if any of his laughs are real or fake. But this still isn't really a problem. Unlike the true max mode of this game, we're actually able to see. So whenever we're running to a door as Nightmare laughs, we can just flash the hallway. If he isn't there, bolt for the closet and hope you are fast enough to catch him. Nightmare can only do 2 real laughs in one night. So once you've gotten rid of him from the closet twice, you can just go from door to door for the rest of the night. And 420 mode is done, no problem. Reload. What? Dude, that was first try. What the fuck? Yo, I was not expecting that. Once I was mid run, I was testing to see. Oh, can you use or can you go to Bonnie and Chica's door and just do door instead of door bed closet bed? Because that's where I would die. Is I'd be dying at the second turn of the bed from Bonnie and Chica, but you don't need to do that. Freddy is like free. He can wait for a long ass time. So once you understand the whole like 3-second interval system, yeah, that's kind of rash, dude. Wow, that was not hard at all. Now we have the 2 other max modes for FNAF 4. Blind Mode All Nightmare, and Blind Mode Mad Freddy and Stefan. Blind Mode Challenge makes the footage look a little boring for these. So I decided to record 2 separate completions for both of these nights. For the sake of entertaining footage, I first beat the night without Blind Mode, then to actually complete the true max mode, and both. For the raw proof on the second channel, both of these max modes Blind Mode Challenge on and off. I'll start off with the significantly easier max mode of the 2. Blind Mode All Nightmare. The All Nightmare Challenge is just that, fighting all night instead of fighting the normal 4 animatronics for the first 4 hours and then Nightmare in the last 2. However, despite Nightmare being here for 4 more hours, he's only able to do 2 real laughs the entire night, which normally he'll burn learn in the first 1 to 2 minutes. We already talked about how to deal with Nightmare's laughs earlier in the 420 section, but in this case, we can't see. So, using the flashlight to see if Nightmare is in the hallway or not will enable. 3 is the magic number, not just for Bonnie and Chica, but also for Nightmare. If Nightmare laughs and you're not sure if it's real or not, head to the door that you think he might have gone to. Now, shut it and listen for footsteps over the next 3-second interval. If there's no footsteps, then you know for sure that the laugh was real, and you need to bolt the closet immediately. For example, let's look at this clip here. This is from my 420 run, but Nightmare's the exact same, so it doesn't really matter in this case. We know Nightmare is going to the left door, but we don't know if the laugh was real or fake. So we close the left door and see that the 454-second interval had passed while the door was closed. The other door like he normally would over those 3-second intervals. So we know for certain he's not in the hallways and we need to go to the closet. This makes All Nightmare a pretty easy level, the easiest out of the 3 max modes in FNAF 4. However, our final max mode for this game is without question the hardest of the 3. Blind mode, Mad Freddy, Insta-Foxy. The main difficulty in blind mode Mad Freddy Insta-Foxy comes in the breakneck speed Freddy and Foxy happy. Bonnie and Chica now have an 18 and 20 chance to move, so we can't gamble and use the breaking strategy. Also camp the door whenever they can, making it more easy for their cumulative kill timer to fill up and for you to die from turning around from bed. So, what's the strategy here? Well, we're going to follow a similar loop throughout the entire night. Check the left door, right door, then get rid of the frettles on the bed, close the closet for 7 seconds, get rid of the frettles again, then repeat. We're going to be as fast as possible in this loop for Foxy and Freddy. Because of the Mad Freddy cheat, we're now forced to turn to the bed twice per cycle, which not only makes Bonnie
I forgot about the immunity effect, along with the and of course there's the
and we
negate.
can only really do so when dealing with Bonnie and Chica. So you'll have to react to the breathing sound.
Alright, they're negating Dynamondo, so
Possible 3-second interval. Second guess your belt, hesitate, or wait too long even once on Bonnie or Chica at the doors, and you'll be easy prey for both Freddy and Foxy, and Bonnie and Chica turning from the bed. In my personal experience with this challenge, most of my fails came from trying to be too fast with Bonnie and Chica and barely missing a breathing sound cue, or playing too cautiously and dying to Foxy and Freddy. Bro. Eventually, though, the movement and breathing became second nature, and I was able to quickly move throughout the room and eventually reach. Nightmare is no different than he was in All Nightmare, so by using those same strategies, Blind Mad Freddy, Instant Foxy, Worse Luck, man, that is a mouthful, is now complete. Oh, it's good to be done. Once you master the 3-second intervals, it's very doable. But that was a hard learning curve, honestly. I didn't think FNAF 4 would be that hard. That was decently hard. Nowhere near Sister Location, but that was hard. With FNAF 4 done, we can officially say that every single FNAF 4 max mode is 100% possible and gets a sweet green possible rating. Now, if you thought FNAF 4 was fast-paced, don't worry, because it gets so... Let's move on to my personal favorite of the challenges in this video, and that is the max modes of FNAF Sister Location. Now, a lot of you might be surprised to hear that FNAF Sister Locations 1020 is actually the reason for why this video took so long to make. I made a poll in my community tab to ask you guys what FNAF game you thought would be the hardest with the worst possible luck, and Sister Location came in last place with only 7%. And honestly, you guys would be right if it wasn't for one stupid decision that I made that turned this from a 3 to 5 channel. This channel is on this channel. When I first beat Sister Location with the worst possible luck, I beat it with 14 power remaining. You can't see it because my stupid ass put the face cam in the top left corner, but that was the number. And seeing this gave me an idea. Now, if you're at all familiar with the history of Sister Location's
variant.
you would
Cool.
know there are actually 3 different iterations of it. There's the current patch patch or version 1.121, the mid patch or version 1.2, and the pre-patch or version 1.11. With the only differences between these patches related to how fast the power drains. Sister Locations 1020 on the patch version is infamous for being one of the hardest challenges that you can do in the vanilla FNAF games. And for all the stuff that I've done on my channel, SL pre-patch is something that's been surprisingly absent from all my videos. So I said, you know what, whatever. Let's give SL pre-patch some attention and look at the true max mode of FNAF Sister Location. And that is Golden Freddy Very Hard Mode pre-patch with the worst possible luck. Now some of you might be thinking, Scott designed Sister Locations custom nights so that it is an RNG mode. And you would be right. There's not a single bit of RNG that makes the night impossible. But holy shit, does it make the night so much harder. Dude, why did you wait? Okay, so let's go over all of the changes made to all the Sister Location custom night characters. Laura will now always take the fastest possible route to your office and will never go backwards. Funtime Freddy will also never fail any movements. The moment he's given the chance to slam Bonbon against the door, he will. He'll also always send Bonbon to the opposite side of where Laura is currently located, ensuring that you can't save even a fraction of power by getting rid of both of them with the same door. Yendo and Bonnet will no longer fail any movement opportunities, meaning that Bonnet will always spawn on every camera drop. Luckily, Yendo spawn on 2 camera drops in a row, so thankfully he's not going to be here the entire night. In a normal 10 Foxy will be able to progress after looking at him on the cameras for a random range between 7.75 seconds and 5.25 seconds. This range is luck-based, so for us, he'll always give you the 5.25 while progressing. If he happens to hit the door or progress a stage, he would normally have a shorter cooldown to progress again, which is a random range between 5.25 seconds and 2.75 seconds. So you'll only have 2.75 seconds to catch him in this case before he progresses again. Like Foxy, also random Funtime Foxy to start in stage 0 or 1 after hitting the door, so he'll always start in stage 1. Biddy Bab normally has an AI 50 chance to progress every 3 seconds, so now he'll always move on every single 3-second interval. Lolbet has these same 3-second intervals and AI 50 chance. So appear every chance he gets, so long as the 5-second cooldown timer is not on. And lastly, Mini Arena 2, the ones that appear on your screen, will also never fail any movements. Normally, they would have an AI 40 chance to spawn on a camera drop, so now they'll spawn on every single flip. So, with all of these changes, what does 1020 pre-patch look like with the worst luck? Well, let me give you a short 15-second example. There's actually this really old video that I saw recently, where it showcases Smash Melee inputs visualized, so I'm going to do the same thing here to show how strict this night can be. You'll notice that every time I close a door, I'm reopening it as soon as possible, and that's because of how absolutely brutal the power is in pre-patch Sister Location. If you compare the curve, winning with 16% is approximately equivalent to winning with a full power out in pre-patch. Now add on the fact that everyone that required to close doors is attacking as fast and as frequently as possible, and we have one of the strictest nights in all of FNAF. So what does the overall strategy look like here? Well, in order to save power, we're going to abuse everyone's intervals as much as physically possible. Lingering on a closed door for more than a second will almost guarantee that we won't have enough power to beat the night. First, let's talk about our door characters. We'll have to consistently be blocking off Funtime Freddy, Biddy Bab, and Ballora. For Funtime Freddy, we're going to have to perfectly time blocking Bon Bon right as he's about to hit the door in order to not waste any power. Regardless of what voice line Funtime Freddy uses when sending Bon Bon out, wait about a second after he stops talking, then shut the door to barely catch Bon Bon. Other than waiting as long as possible, there's not much optimization that we can do with Funtime Freddy. However, we can save a ton of power using intervals for both Biddy Bab and Ballora. Normally, Biddy Bab can be pretty annoying. Basically, you have to wait until you hear a hook in the vents, then close the vent and wait until Biddy Bab puts on it to leave. It feels actually hits the door, leaving you to waste power by leaving the vent door shut. But remember, earlier in the FNAF video, I mentioned that 3 is what I can in this video, and this is what I'm mostly referring to in this game.
Oh god, did they have Ash Blossom?
Operates completely on 3-second intervals, and he'll never deviate from these intervals no matter what. Once you hear the thunk sound, the next 3-second interval will be the start of Bitty Bab's kill window. Once he's in this kill window, if you close the front vent, he'll instantly leave.
Damn.
This is actually a pretty generous time frame, as he won't force kill you until the next 3-second interval. However, pulling up the cameras has the same effect as closing the door, instead of forcing an instant jump scare. For example, let's say Bitty Bab thunks in the vents at 33 seconds. This means that his kill window will start at 36 seconds. So, for the entire duration of 36 to 39 seconds, the door will make him instantly leave. Cameras will instantly jump scare, with a forced jump scare happening regardless at 39. Next, and possibly the biggest one of exploit is to do with Ballora. Ballora is actually similar to the Ennard boss fight, in that she'll be progressively more aggressive as the night goes on. From 12 to 3 a.m., she'll move every 6 seconds. At 4 a.m., she'll move every 5 seconds. 5 a.m., she'll move every 4 seconds. Despite these intervals changing throughout the game, Ballora's interval to actually leave the office never does. If Ballora is currently camping your door, she'll always leave the doors closed over a 5-second interval. Take a look at this clip here. You can tell from the audio of Ballora's music that she moves into the right door at 12 seconds, which makes sense. 12 seconds is a 6-second interval, and it's 1 a.m. Ballora won't jump scare until her next movement at the next 6-second interval. In this case, is 18 seconds. So we can abuse the 1:15 interval and just barely shut the door over 1:15 to get Ballora to leave without wasting any power. In early pre-patch runs, Ballora was considered one of the worst and hardest animatronics to deal with, but with precise inputs that align with the interval timer, we can make her just as power efficient as Funtime. Next to these 3 door characters, I'd say the difficulty is our lovable and favorite iteration of Foxy, Funtime Foxy. See, in normal 10-20 runs, we need to pull every 5 seconds. But with how aggressive Funtime Foxy is on worst luck, we're going to have to be a lot more without flips. Typically, I would never use Funtime Foxy more than 3 to 4 seconds without a check, which means that I would need to flip about 3 times per cycle. This not only increases the general cost of the game, but it also opens up a lot more opportunities for stupid bonnet or Yenda death. Double kidding with that shit. Oh my god, that was like almost 50. Flipping this much is super important though. One time Foxy hitting the door will instantly drain 1% power, and if you can't already tell, we do not have 1% power to spare. However, this brings up another problem. With how frequently we have to flip, a lot of the time you'll be forced to flip around the Funtime Freddy or Ballora attack. You'll just have to become really good at multi-casting and managing every threat as they come to you. Here's a good example of what I mean by this. All in the span of like 2 seconds, we have to catch Ballora's 1:15, Foxy, then perfect Funtime Freddy close. If Lolbit happens to pull up during all of this too, you have to be lightning fast with your LOL presses. A lot of people argue over whether or not it's better to press LOL with your left or right hand, but personally, I like to switch depending on what's more optimal. If I have to shut a door right away, I'm going to use my right hand, which leaves my left hand open with W, A, and D to close doors. If I'm clicking bonnet, I'm going to need my mouse hand, so in that case, I use my left hand. The last part of this night that we have to talk about are CSGO aim trainers, Mini Reno 1 and Electrobab. But instead of normal CSGO gameplay, imagine you're playing on the ENIAC vacuum tube machine and your cursor is delayed by 10 minutes every time you move. Alright, here's the part of the video where I rant about the sister location custom cursor. This thing is so garbage to use. See, the problem with the custom cursor is that it seems to have some super weird mouse acceleration that you can't really seem to turn off. Like, if you flick even the tiniest bit too much, the cursor will just go flying across the screen and you'll completely miss whatever camera you were trying to hit. But in order to save as much power as possible, you're going to have to master using this cursor. You see, whenever you use a controlled shock on Electrobab or Mini Arena 1, the controlled 10 frames after you initially shock. So if you bulk the cameras, flick to Electrobab's cam, then as you're flicking cam 6, press E to shock, then flick cam 6, the shock will carry over to cam 6, and you'll spend way less time in the cameras than if you waited to do a second shock on the mini arenas in cam 6.
This is intense. I'm liking this.
Considering that usage is equal across all the doors and cameras, this is super important, as lingering on the cameras too long can drain loads of power. But this cursor has one problem that I haven't talked about yet. The cursor. The cursor has RNG, man. Now, I know what you're thinking. Box 5, why did you give the cursor worst RNG? Well, custom cursor RNG has to do with your PC lagging and not the game. Specific worst luck version of Social Location had a super buggy cursor. For some reason, when I played the game for more than 15 minutes at a time, the cursor would just start teleporting whenever I'd move. Look at this, dude. It fucking teleports. Why is it teleporting? Dude. And this isn't some like nerdy FPS game type mouse lag. It is super, super noticeable. So if the cursor starts teleporting when you're deep into a run at 5 a.m., sucks to suck, I guess. You better just boss up.
Sure, I forgot about the negation.
Strategy that I forgot to cover, which is known as the zero oxygen strat. Basically, it makes these flicks a lot easier because you never have to take camera 6 to use oxygen and just go straight to Phil Foxy's camera after much or bad. The only reason this works is cranking up the brightness of the game so you can still see. But personally, I don't like this strat just because it makes the game look ugly. No one wants to kiss this guy. So, for your viewing pleasure, I present to you one of the hardest challenges in vanilla FNAF games. Sister Location 1020. Repatch with the worst possible luck.
Well played.
Oh my god. Worst luck 1020 rematch. Oh, but I won't do it. Now, we aren't done with Sister Location quite yet. Sister Location technically has another max mode with the entered boss fight in the practice, so we made sure to alter that as well. Basically, Ender opens your door the first chance he gets. Once he reaches your door, he literally never leaves. So, how do we deal with them? Well, like all
Let's just get rid of Dynamondo.
Intervals. So we're just gonna have to have our door shut over every single interval that he has. Missing a single interval means instant death.
Should have put Ruin in defense position.
Really, it isn't. This night is actually really, really boring. The night is 9 minutes long, so we're just playing AFK Simulator for 9 straight minutes. It's worth noting that Ender's movement interval isn't constant throughout the entire night. He'll start by moving every 10 seconds to 12 a.m., and then from 1 to 3 a.m., he's gonna move every... And at 4 a.m., he starts moving every 3 seconds. Then finally, at 5 a.m., he starts moving every 2 seconds. The only difficulty that I had for this night was getting so bored that I actually forgot what interval I was on and didn't go.
Yeah, Ruin's dead either way.
But as long as you have an attention span where mine can go 3 seconds without some UC on the stim board, enter night shouldn't be a problem.
Chaos Angel. Alright, they're banishing Ruin.
Oh, dude. That... Oh. Twin Wick.
Ah, the portal. Right, yeah, that makes more sense.
Consciousness. And that finishes at such a location with the worst possible luck. Even if we wanted to use cheese, there would be cheese strats in such a location like how there is in the first 3 games. So, both 1020 pre-patch in the custom night and the Enter boss fight are both getting that sweet.
We're getting a
Next
kaiju
up,
instead.
we have Fancy Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator 6. Second to only the end, FNAF 6 was the game that you all said would be one of the most difficult games given the worst possible luck. So let's see if that holds up with our changes. All of the animatronics will now always take the fastest possible route to your office, meaning they'll never fail movements. Will always to the office. Normally, when an animatronic is in your adjacent vents, they'll have a chance to hear you in the office, which ultimately determines their chance of jump scaring you. Depending on what you have on, this but even with nothing on, it's still a 10% chance. So for us, it doesn't matter if we're dead quiet or blasting everything. Every animatronic always has super hearing and will instantly detect us. The audio alert is not completely ineffective, as its ability to trap animatronics is chance-based, normally having a 50% chance. Ads will normally have a 25%
Wait,
chance
is Skull Guardian's negation soft ones?
Ads will never overlap.
Do they have 2 negates here or just 1?
Lastly, the temperature has been changed so that the office always heats up as fast as possible. And silent ventilation is completely useless. If you didn't know, the temperature system actually operates on a chance-based system similar to animatronic movement. Silent ventilation has a 50% chance to decrease the temperature by 1 every second, meaning it won't decrease the temperature at all. Similarly, the temperature has a 50% chance to increase every second, or half second depending if the terminal is on or not, meaning that the temperature is now guaranteed to heat up given every possible chance it has. So, with all of these chances, what's the play party Saturday? Nothing. We really... There's nothing. Yeah, FNAF 6 is straight up impossible with worse luck, and it's not even like reasonably close either. Our main problem here is getting pincered. On Saturday with the worst luck, everyone is guaranteed to move on 2-second intervals, which means that they're at our office vents in 8 seconds flat. Animatronics in FNAF 6 are only sent back on 4-second intervals, so we really have no way of getting rid of everyone at the first attack. If we choose to fly to the right vent, whoever's on the left side will always jump scare us, and vice versa. Because the chance there's not much that we can really do here. Honestly, I think the furthest that you could go with FNAF 6 would only be having one animatronic on the worst luck setting. Any more than one, and they'll perfectly sync up to pincer you, causing it. So, fortunately, FNAF 6 will end with a streak of max modes that are possible with the worst possible luck. I wish I could have this segment longer, but I can't even 10 seconds. So there really isn't much to say here. Now we are finally ultimate custom rate. I'm just gonna... This changelog is massive. There are so many different factors that can be changed in order to give this game the worst possible luck. So, I'm trying to screen them all as fast as possible. To make the differences a bit more clear, I'll put what the chance in the base game for any of this to happen is in the top left corner in this white text. For example, the chance for the Fredos to the second one is normally a 1 in 10 every frame, depending on how many there are. But because this is worst luck, and the coins will no longer spawn on the cameras. Normally, 1 in 11 chance to spawn every time you switch to a new camera, so no more cam coins. The heater will no longer push any duck characters back. If you remember from the UTN ad right you have duck characters have different chances to be pushed back, but none of these are guaranteed. The heater is completely ineffective on the duck animatronics. Speaking of the duck animatronic, animatronics, they'll all use their fastest possible routes to get to your office, will never leave the dark entrances, and will jump scare you given their first chance. Sword will spawn in 51 seconds every single night, even if the point value is not set to 10,000. Bonnet and Lolbit will always succeed every single movement opportunity that they have. Plush Trap will always have his lowest grace period for his kill timer. Freddy will now always have the lowest possible amount to his progression meter. Foxy and Bonnie have been changed so that Foxy will always start in Pax no matter what. Chica will always succeed her stage progression and will always jump scare on 0.5 seconds. Mr. Hugs will always succeed during Toy Freddy's game, and Toy Freddy will always jump scare you on 0.5 second interval after over. Toy Bonnie and Chica will always spawn given every chance they have, and will always stay in the office as possible. All of the vet animatronics will always move as slow as possible.
Alright, I think I lose here.
Get in, they will jump scare you each chance. Balloon Boy, JJ, and Helpy will never spawn on camera drops. Wicked Bonnie is guaranteed if he does happen to spawn, he will never leave the office, guaranteeing a death. If Puppet manages to leave the box, she'll always jump scare you given her first chance. Golden Freddy will now spawn on every single camera drop. Phantom Mangle and Balloon Boy will now always appear on your camera monitor on every single flip. Nightmare Freddy will always have a friend to the office on every 1 second interval. Once a Freddle's in the office, it will never leave. Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear have been changed spawn on their intervals. Once above 90 degrees, Jacko Chica will always add the highest possible value to their progression. Nightmare Net will always choose to spawn on your cursor. If you're not on one of his positions, he'll default to camping in Helpy's position. Nightmare Balloon Boy will always stand up on every camera flip.
Fuck it.
Consequences will always spawn.
Access code.
Foxy will hour. Mr. Can't Do will always stand on Freddy's camera, and number 1 crate will always spawn every single cam flip. Rockstar Freddy will always succeed his chance to demand coins, and the heater will no longer cause him to stop asking for coins. Rockstar Bonnie will always every single 15 seconds when the cameras are up. His guitar will never spawn on camera 2 or Funtime Foxy's camera. Rockstar Foxy's parent will always spawn given the chance, and Rockstar Foxy himself will always jump scare you clicking. Elton will always spawn on every single 10-second interval. Funtime Chica will always spawn given the chance, and her distortion effect will last as long as possible. Scrap Baby will always spawn 25-second intervals. Spawn. Lefty will always add to his progress given the chance. And lastly, Phone Guy will always succeed his chance to spawn. And if you don't mute his call, he'll always play his longest phone call, which, if you're curious, is the night 1 call from Night 1. He'll also never stop his call early. Okay, that was a lot. Listening carefully through all those change logs, you might have noticed something a bit different with UCN compared to some of the other games that we've modified. In a game like Sister Location, we've cranked everyone up to always be as aggressive as possible all the time. But in UCN, it's kind of the opposite. Everyone pictured on screen here is either turned down to be as slow as possible, or just never spawns at all. Why is this? Wouldn't this actually be the luckiest possible setting? Remember, in UCN, you can generate fast coins in 1 of 2 ways. The first
Yeah.
way is cameras, which we can't do because that's a 1 in 11 chance. And the second way is to block off any animatronics that hit doors like Helpy. If all of these a day off, not attack you, no way of getting fast coins. And this becomes a problem pretty quickly. The most obvious possible animatronic is Rockstar Freddy. We'll have to reset the ventilation at least once throughout the entire night. It's like
Yeah, 3 copies of fucking...
So, at some point, we'll have to pull up the cameras, meaning Rockstar Freddy will start demanding coins. Once he starts demanding coins, we're pretty much screwed. Can't get coins from the cameras, and everyone that can give us coins by slamming into a door is either too lazy to progress up to the door, or just won't spawn at all. And remember, the heater has a 1/2 chance to work every second on Rockstar Freddy, so he's never going to be satisfied from it with the worst possible luck. But even if we don't include Rockstar Freddy, fast coins cause problems for a lot of other animatronics. There's no way that we can get 10 fast coins in time to buy the death coin for the first showtime, so we'll automatically be forced to watch all of Funtime Foxy showtimes. But remember, Funtime Foxy showtimes happen on the exact frame that hour changes, meaning we'll have to be on the cameras over a 1 second interval, causing an instant Toy Freddy death. If you can't already tell, 50-20 is clearly impossible with the worst possible luck. But let's see what the highest score we can get is with worse luck. The biggest deciding factor who we can include has to do with Zor. Remember that Zor can spawn on nights that aren't set to 10,000. So, Zor's also going to spawn in 51 seconds, which creates a load of problems. 51 seconds Zor, Loki will spawn at 1 of 5. The reason 51 seconds Zor is so unlucky is it has to do with the plushie. Once a plushie animatronic spawns, 2 at 1, 3, or 5 a.m., they'll give you 20 seconds to buy their plushie before they jump scare you. If you're familiar with the Rule 50 strategy, then you would know that you don't actually have to buy any of the plushies as long as you aren't forced to go off 2, as plushie animatronics get cam installed. But if you remember, Plush Trap spawns in Funtime Foxy's camera at 105, which kind of traps us. If we want to go and deal with Plush Trap, we're forced to go off of camera 2 and die.
Bollocks.
Plush animatronics will die with Plush Trap. So, what's the play here? Well, we're gonna have to sacrifice some points.
I know they can't beat over this.
But Zor, and by extension Plush Trap, will spawn. But, so we're gonna have to turn off Nightmare Bonnie, Baby, and Nightmare May. We're also gonna have to turn off
Either way, I think.
Showtime's Roleplay.
If it doesn't, then I lose.
And was that Rockstar Freddy hit impossible, so we're gonna have to turn him off as well. Which leaves us with this roster. Now, you might with Plush how are we gonna Plush Trap? After watching for about
I mean, have lightning storm.
she gives a word for that there and also jump scares 3 times over. Well, trick question. We're actually not going to get rid of Plush Trap at all.
That's a light monster. You can't special summon it.
From that Bucky's camera, Plush Trap is not able to attack us. As you can see, this clip here.
No diviner.
It's all the way 16. As we're selected on the Funtime Code camera, Plush Trap can't jump scare us until we decide to evolve with it. But this brings in one last problem that we have to deal with. Foxy will never do best no matter what. So the only way to stop his progress would be to check his camera. Once Foxy reaches this kill stage, we're guaranteed to die with both the cameras. So check every single frame. So it really wouldn't be possible to deal with Foxy at all, or to turn him off. Leaves us with this roster once before. This roster doesn't exactly our flight sister location, it's actually really easy and honestly really boring. All you have to do is select Funtime Fox's camera at the beginning and done for all the setup for the night. You don't do your ventilation.
Diviners, they're out. And there it is.
Seconds. Basically, just try to do something.
Except,
Then you can survive.
no!
Help tools such as location. That's one possible walk that UCN is impossible, super easy, structure that same. I was able to do 4420 worst luck first try, but beyond that, it's just straight up impossible. So, with all 7 main